Hi, welcome to Tansson TV Plus. Of course, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Mom.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And Mom, I always love doing this with you. And let us know, what are we speaking about here this week?
And our first episode Friday, we are talking about AP Bio.
Yes, and this is the series premiere titled Catfish that released February 1st of 2018.
Yes, and thank you for joining us on our back to school marathon that we're having here this month. And so, Brandon, are you ready for me to give just a very brief synopsis of the episode?
Yeah, I definitely sure am. You can go ahead and get started. And this is from Universal Television.
Alrighty. Very brief synopsis for this one. In this particular episode, we're introduced to Jack Griffin, who is I guess a visiting teacher is the best I could say. I don't think he's a substitute. He's supposed to be a teacher for a year, from my understanding, at this particular high school. He is an award-winning philosophy scholar, and he has one free year. All right. Jack was previously a Harvard professor teaching who taught philosophy, and he wanted to be a Stanford philosophy teacher, however, professor. But apparently, his friend, quote unquote, actually got the job instead of him. And so now he has a free year. And so Mr. Griffin is now going to be a teacher of AP biology. Here's the problem with this. Mr. Griffin does not plan to teach biology. That is not his area. He does not care. So he is there as a teacher in theory for this particular classroom. Of course, he says that he is not there to teach. He says that he is not there to learn anything from the students, and he says he is not there to learn anything from the students. So vice versa, both of those, vice versa also. However, you can see during this episode that he does begin to learn from the students. And so that is really, and in this first episode, what he wants to do is to use the students in order to kind of lead the Stanford professor on, or we should say catfish the professor.
Yeah, certainly quite interesting premise and a very different take on the whole teaching realm than everything else that we've spoken about this month. Thank you so much for your synopsis, Mom.
You're welcome, Brandon.
Yeah, and just going into this a little bit further too, as you were saying that Mr. Griffin, he said, like you said, he's not there to learn from the students. You're not going to secretly learn throughout the semester. We're not even going to, don't take any notes. And the two things that he wants to do in life is to take down his supposed nemesis, his frenemy, and to get back with his ex-girlfriend, neither of which actually happened in this episode.
Yes, neither of which you're correct does happen. However, we do find that he does begin to build a rapport two ways. We're finding that he builds a rapport with the teachers from the lounge, which means he's listening and kind of paying attention. And then he's also learning from his class himself because he is kind of observing what they do. And since he kind of observes what they do, there's one particular student in the classroom that he kind of observes, and he kind of he notices certain things and kind of does some small things to kind of help him. Of course, you don't realize this in the process, but he's kind of doing some small things initially to help him.
Yeah, and so with that one student, Devin, he's able to, like you said, make that rapport and that they're learning from each other, even though Mr. Griffin realizes that I'm not really setting the best example here, and I don't want the principal to show up to my house and complain on me, which actually does happen in the episode.
Yes, yeah, that does happen in the episode.
But yeah, and so overall, like, what are your thoughts about the show as as a episode thus far? This first episode.
Well, it differs from the last two, whereas the other two, whereas when we watch Head of Class and then Welcome Back, Kotter, the teachers were there to teach, and that is what they wanted to do, and then we learn about the students along with the teacher himself. In this particular episode, I noticed that we learn about the teacher. We really don't learn about the students. I mean, we know that they're a smart group. And that's about all we really know about the students themselves. We are told the name of a couple of the students, but no details or anything like that. You see, they want to please their teacher, but that is about all you learn. And so I'm taking it from just watching this episode. This is one where we learn about the students later and it's about the development of the teacher, learning from the students. That's just my guess. I've only seen one episode. What are your thoughts, Brandon?
Yeah, and I should add too that I think we've only seen the first episode. We may have seen episode two, but I really think it was just the first episode. We saw it today, and I think either last year or earlier on. But yeah. I mean, I'm actually really intrigued by it, and I know the students are very intrigued to have Mr. Griffin, Dr. Griffin, sorry, as a teacher, and that what's interesting is that even when he is removed from the equation very briefly by the coach, is that the coach doesn't even give them that respect. And Dr. Griffin, for all he's worth, actually does give the students the respect, of course, for his own nefarious purposes. But it's an interesting dynamic we see.
It is an interesting dynamic and a different take on something that I guess we're not accustomed to for seeing for at least for this type of series for what we normally watch.
Yeah, and even though we're hesitating a little bit, I did want to ask too. So, would you watch this again or watch this first episode again?
Um, I have watched this first episode again. I ended up watching it like one and a half times, so that would be yes. And then would I watch the next few episodes? You know what, Brandon? I would. I think I would. It'd be interesting to see how far this series actually goes. I think you told me 42 episodes. I think give or take. I think that's what you told me that they made. And so now, whether or not I watch all 42, I don't know. But I will watch some more episodes just to see where this is going.
Yeah, and yes, it was 42 episodes. Good remembering there. So, two on NBC and then two on the streaming service Peacock.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, and it did actually briefly have a theme song. I don't really remember it, but it did have one.
And that's good, Brandon, because I really don't remember it at all. So I guess it wasn't that memorable. Sorry. The show, but I don't remember the theme song.
But yeah, it was very brief, but it did have names in it. I just truly don't remember it.
No, I don't either.
But yeah, but nevertheless, I think it's just so interesting, and but I think what sort of actually makes it work, that sort of binds it all together, is the character of the principal. Actually,
Yeah, the principal, he's doing a nice job. Or at least I think he is. He comes around. He wants the best for for his students, and then he is trying to, I think, help the situation a little bit. But he doesn't quite know how to help with this particular situation and what to do with this teacher.
yeah, and I really like the actor that plays the principal too, Penn Oswald, who I've seen in a few different things, ranging from of course this show to Agents of Shield to commercials to everything in between. But and the 1% Club game show that we also watch.
Yes, yes, yeah. I recognized him right off, so it was good to see him on here.
But yeah, so overall, I mean, I thought I was really, personally really intrigued by this episode, and I definitely would watch again. And so, as we've been speaking about for some of these first episodes, is what would when we tune in again, what would be we be watching for? Is there anything in particular that you want to see from the series?
I want to see if he grows as a teacher. I think that'll be interesting to see and how he learns from his students because I think it's going to be about how he learns from the students. Um, and or if they're going to switch a little bit, are they going to concentrate on the students, or is it really just going to be all about him? So it'll be interesting to see what perspective they end up taking with the show.
Yeah, and I know we don't watch a ton of modern shows. We mentioned that here and there for our discussions, but we did not watch the series when it came out. I think we've seen one or two episodes in passing a couple years ago, but we weren't really into the show. We just knew of it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. I think my sister told me about the show, so that's why we saw a couple back then. But like I said, it's been so long ago that it was like watching it for the first time when I saw it.
Likewise, and yeah, but I think for me, like I said, I'm personally really excited to see, like you said, how Dr. Griffin grows. But I would like to see if one, if the principal is able to catch on. But I want to see more from the students and what they have to do. I know we got a lot from that one student, Devin, earlier, but I'd like to see him and some others, grow as a character, and see hopefully their development throughout the series.
Yep, same here. Now, I will say this as a disclaimer, though, that I would not recommend this show to younger children. Most of our shows that we watch are kind of anyone could watch it, but for this one, I would not recommend for a younger crowd to watch.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
But yeah, most of our shows that we watch, both for this channel and personally, are usually like the family friendly comedies. And so
yeah.
I know we took a little bit of a break from that for for all these drama shows, uh, but yeah, a lot of modern shows I don't feel like are made as much for the family audience per se.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but one thing I actually did want to quickly note though is that I had recognized a few different names and such when the credits were rolling, and so two of the ones I mentioned I mean that I noticed are actually what was it? Seth Meyers, who is the host of I believe the uh, what was it? Who is the host of Late Night on NBC right after the Tonight Show, and then Warren Michaels, who is in charge of Saturday Night Live. But you also recognize the name.
I did. I recognized Franco Iberio from the many, many years I watched Saved by the Bell. So, yes, I did recognize that one.
Yeah, and I believe he was a unit manager, if I remember correctly.
I cannot remember his exact title, but I remember recognizing the name from Saved by the Bell.
But yeah, so that's definitely a good eye with that. We always like watching the credits to see if we recognize anyone. And so there were some other names that I recognized in passing too. But yeah, overall, I'm very excited, like I said, to continue on with this theme. And whoever thought that there would be so much to dive into for the classroom setting.
I know, I know, I know. And I look forward to the next one, Brandon. And we thank everyone for watching with us.
Yes, we definitely thank you. And I will note this one last thing is thus far on each of these, we've had the principal show up.
Yeah, we have. We have. We'll have to see for the fourth show that we tackle if there's a principal there also.
Yeah, well, Mom, I look forward to speaking with you in the next one and have a wonderful day.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.